Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along.
All right, folks, it's the guy with the bow tie checking in with you live for another edition of Business with Benefits. To my right, you have the wonderful Michael Ray. Hey, Michael, can you hear me okay?
What's up, man? Good afternoon. I can hear you great.
Perfect. Well, first off, I want to say thank you to Hashtag Team Live, Hashtag Team Replay, however you consume the content. We appreciate it. Please let us know how you watch this and also where you're watching from. And if you haven't seen Michael Ray and his wonderful smile on LinkedIn, you haven't been paying attention. I know he's been on the scene not a super long amount of time, but you made a great impact on LinkedIn and social media in general. So for the people that don't know who you are and what you do, kind of let them know why you know about Smiles.
I know about Smiles primarily for my nonverbal daughter, Madeline. Call her Maddie. She's got Down syndrome. She's 21, and she speaks to me through smiling, even though she doesn't talk. So I guess that was the genesis. And then from there, I just started doing the work and seeing the impact of smiling with strangers and kind of what it impressed upon them.
Yeah, I love the story of the Wendy's drive-through woman you met. That was kind of the antithesis of the whole thing. And so we want to make sure there's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world. Obviously, COVID-19, racial injustice, police brutality, all these things are going on. And you find a way to make a smile out of all of this. So I know it can be easy for people to probably see you and say, what's wrong with this guy? He's smiling all the time. I know it's not an easy thing. So how do you bring yourself to that every day for people that are kind of going through tough times right now?
You know, I mean, generally what I tell people is if you can find a place, and I started this, roughly 2 years before the chaos, COVID and all the racial tension, it's the chaos of 2020. So I started well before that. And obviously when I started, I tell people, look, it was intentional. When you want to create, such intense change in your life, it is intentional until it becomes to the point it's insanely natural. So I think for me that I've been blessed with the personality that it comes, easy. But I tell people we smile and make others smile because life is hard. And when you talk about that genesis of where it started for me at a Wendy's drive-thru, it's because I knew I was on the doorstep of getting ready to lose a job. I was overworking in the mortgage industry. I was working with one of my best friends, and I was having an awful morning. And again, that's what we don't realize in life, whether it's COVID or all the other bull crap we're dealing with, that we don't know what strangers have in their heads and their hearts as they go through the normal course of their lives. So for me, you talk about Wendy's. There was a Wendy's drive-through, late one morning, but I'll never forget it. It's Chantrell and the energy and enthusiasm and smiling and laughter in just that very short 30, 40 second interaction.
Yeah.
And how it touched me. And it touched me enough that I literally had to pull my car over to process, what was going on. And it was, for me, it was a God moment. And I knew that God was talking to me and having the ability to listen. But then again, being that creepy dude that, you're never supposed to get out of your car and actually walk back up to the drive-thru. but I knew it was important enough in that moment in God speaking to me that I needed to tell Chantrell that it meant that much.
Yeah.
So when you ask me that question, how do I navigate it easily now? It's because I don't really know anything but love. If you can truly find a place of love in your heart, and I have found such insane joy and happiness in my life through the relationships that I have. And I'm not defined by material things. I don't chase those for happiness. I find them in my relationships and again, primarily with my daughter, Maddie, that it makes it very easy to lead with love and smiles, with strangers.
I like that. And then you mentioned something about, this smile probably lasted with her she'll probably remember that day the rest of her life, honestly. And it makes me think of that quote from Nelson Mandela, people don't remember what you say, but how you make them feel. And I'm sure you read that quote over and over again. And that's where we had a comment from Keith McDermott said, Mr. Ray touches more lives than he knows. His videos and posts are the awesome way to start your day. The domino effect is overwhelming. So thank you for that, Keith. And that's how I noticed you. I was like,
and I recognize Keith. And you know what? And I've been asked this question multiple times now in interviews and things. Take yourself back to, when you were at the drive-thru with Chantrell. Do you remember what she said? And I think of it also as Maya Angelou, because Maya Angelou, and when I get asked what is the most endearing and profound quote I've ever heard, and it's actually, part of what you said from Nelson, and that is, people will forget what you did. They will forget what you said, but they won't forget how you made them.
We lost Michael for a second. Wi-Fi issue. Hold on, guys. You gotta love live internet when the internet cuts out somewhere. All right, Michael's having a technical challenge. This is the internet hating on Smiling right now. As soon as something good happens, the internet hates on you. Michael, if you can hear me, try to log back in because it looks like it blacked your screen out. But thank you for sharing that, Keith.
Are you there?
I remember there you go. I can hear you, and I can't see you. I can hear you.
Okay, so I was actually getting to the punchline of that very powerful quote, and that is, the last part of it is, you won't forget how you made people feel. And that's why I couldn't tell you for $10 million what Chantrell said. But I remember the emotions of how she made me feel in that moment. And when I make people smile, and I do random acts of kindness to make people smile, or I do videos with my daughter, and things like Keith had just said, I do truly understand how I make people feel, because that's exactly how Chantrell made me feel in the moment, and totally changed the course of my day. Can you see me okay? Okay, my friend, or no?
No, it's the avatar up there. Try to enable the video again. I can hear you perfect. I was saying when you dropped out, this is the internet hating on happiness right now. But it's the audience coming through fine. So yeah, and that's why I noticed you. I saw your videos coming through, and I'm like, who is this guy with the balloons and the smiling and all this stuff going on? And LinkedIn, you don't typically think of that. It's a very uplifting community, which is why I'm only on LinkedIn, because it's always positive. But it's still not the first place you think of that. You usually think of an Instagram or Facebook for that. So how is your LinkedIn audience embracing your personal side with this? Because your business is personal but business, but how is LinkedIn embracing this with you?
You know what, my friend, it's overwhelming, the level of engagement. I have, I would say, next level gratitude for the people that have expressed, how I've touched their hearts. I believe profoundly in being as close to 100% engaged with the community and relationships. And it's funny because when I started on this journey in April of 2018, I was on LinkedIn, but a lot of people, I wasn't an active user. I was probably that 99% that existed out there in which it wasn't about relationships. I wasn't a content creator. And when I went down this road to try to make people smile, it was primarily taking pictures and sharing them locally, really on Facebook and Instagram, and growing that platform. And I had done that for the better part of about 15, 16 months, in which somebody's like, why in the hell are you not really using LinkedIn? Because, you need to be, because, I've been watching you for so long. And again, it was an active, content creator on there. And so as a lot of people, it's like, wow, how will that resonate? I knew it was resonating locally, but of course, just understanding, that the platform opens up so much more nationally and globally. But again, also, it wasn't really, I wasn't there to sell a product or service. I was really,
right.
When I first started, it was understanding that idea that it was truly all about what I was already doing on Facebook locally. And that is just in trying to inspire people and impact their lives locally to create the change they want to see, in their life. And again, for the first 15, 16 months of what I did, it really was never video. I did some videos with Maddie, but it was primarily taking still pictures with
Ah,
strangers and then sharing a little bit of their story, with the world. And again, those people were primarily locally until this was like almost about a year ago. I literally got out of bed one morning and it was another God moment. And I took like 2 steps out of bed to go into the bathroom. And it was like, if I'm trying to make people smile, why am I not doing random acts of kindness? I mean, it just
there
like
you go.
hit me. And I'm going, oh my God, it is. And then it was like, okay, well, how does that look? Do we take pictures? Do we do video? A lot of those things. And then, you mentioned earlier the balloons. We didn't do them early on until I decided one time to take them to a teacher. And the balloons resonated. And then I did it again. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, it's part of my brand now. I've got to get balloons every time. But it's okay.
I like that because that's how the
Now,
best branding I think happens. I mean, because you mentioned that kind of just happened. That's like the bow tie with me was the same thing. I just wore it one day and people are like, "Oh, I like the bow tie," and it just became a thing. So that's why I love that it's
becomes a
endearing
thing,
and it's real
and
to
now
you.
I can't show up without balloons. And occasionally I like to do the insane random acts of kindness where you're in the moment. You're driving somewhere, and I always keep a couple of gift cards in my car because you just feel it. And again, I
Yeah,
think it's those moments in which I say, look, a lot of it is if you're a faith-based person and you're guided by, your Christian faith, I do believe it's God talking to me, in the moments of knowing where to be and what to say and doing, the right things in the environment to really to put it on people's hearts.
awesome. I love it, and I want to try to get your video working. So I'm gonna pull you off for a second. I want you to try to log back in so
Yeah,
people
you're
can
fine
see
because
that
I
smile.
went back down and hit it, and it's supposed to be working.
Now I'm gonna pull you up and get you. So just click the link again so we can get you back in. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. I want you guys to see Michael. So we're gonna remove him for a quick second. He's gonna come back in. Yeah, this is just awesome to see his story. So I want you guys to be able to see him because that's the whole point of doing video. If he's the king of doing kind act of kindness video, I want to have him be seen. So we're going to get him back here 1 second and hit the reactions for us, folks. It's important that his message gets out here because it's a nonprofit helping people, like real people. So I know we see these nonprofits out there that we don't know where it impacts people, but he's actually showing you like regular people he just finds in the street or at a school or all different places. People nominate people for that. So that's to see a real situation. I think is important. There we go. All right, Michael, you're back.
Well, butter my biscuit, baby. We're here.
All right, now I can see you. I'll let people know that I appreciate that you're having real people like when you do these acts of kindness. And you mentioned content creators, so that's the phrase people kind of get misconstrued. You don't actually go out there with the intent of I'm making content. You're actually just going to do your thing and you record it, right?
Zero. So, and I tell people that. So, about half of it is stuff I do with my daughter. When I do it, I ask her if she wants to shoot videos. And when I do things with her, it's just normal things we do in our life. And I try to give people messages that relate to just the simplicity of smiling and finding joy and happiness. And then when it comes to actually, making people smile and doing random acts of kindness, 90% of those people are actually nominated. And when I say nominated, if you go to my website and, you click on get involved, there's actually a process and you can say, hey, I'm John Smith. I want to nominate Susie Jones, and you tell us a little about Susie Jones and their story and why you want us to go make them smile. So when we're doing that, again, they're giving us the backstory of they're going through cancer, they've lost their job, no matter what the circumstances are, and they need a breath of fresh air. They need, that stranger to come and touch their hearts to like it was for me at Wendy's. Now the other 10%, we totally put ourselves in an environment in which we're just trying to find someone absolutely random. So, again, no, it's nothing about creating content. It's the same premise as we're doing where we would maybe that 90% of time where we know who we're doing. I mean, a great example is a couple of weeks ago after a lot of the protests and things that were happening in Louisville. And if people know the name Breonna Taylor, I mean, that was a name that's
Yeah.
resonating nationally, that's here locally in our city. And we had a local grocery store that got hit. And it's in the west side of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to put ourselves in that environment to, again, to try to bring hope, unity, and love in that community through chaos. So
Yeah.
there's a black gentleman by the name of Chance that I'm doing some work with and collaborating, and then there's a black Catholic priest that I've done some things with. So in that situation, the three of us went down, and we sat there for the better part of maybe 7-8 minutes as people were coming and going. And again, it's that kind of that God moment, and you're going, well, who do we bless that day? Who
Yeah.
are we going to make smile and do a random act of kindness for? And it was a collective effort, when we all of a sudden saw James, in that moment. And we all kind of looked at each other going, yeah, that's our guy. James is our guy. So we knew in that moment that it was, again, call it the Holy Spirit talking to us. And James walks up, and as you have that interaction, you're making that total stranger smile, and you feel the emotions. You just know you got the right dude.
You got a formula for
You
it
got the
too.
right person.
Yeah, Michael put out here, Michael and Maddie smiles always makes our day.
Man, I love me some Skiba. He's up in New York City. Love you, brother.
And then Joshua Rutledge, one of my friends, how do you make them feel not what you say? Very powerful. Yeah, Michael has something else too. Definitely touched our hearts and we love him. This is from Gary. Michael and Maddie are absolute rock stars. Every time I see one of their videos, it makes me smile.
We're not rock stars, man. We're just average people.
And Daniel LeBron, representing from Plano, Texas. He said, hey, thanks for jumping in, Daniel. And Donovan, good friend of mine, I'm going to jump on. Hey, Donovan,
man, I love some Donovan. Yeah, I see him up in there. So God bless that man. Yeah.
Donovan's awesome. I love him too. And then
I call him the Big D.
Oh, so I got to ask you this now. So I was watching one of your junkets, one of your video junkets. You got to introduce me to Dave Chappelle. You got to do it.
You know what, man? I got insanely lucky. I happened to be in Southern California back late last February, and I'm a huge fan of the movies. So I happened to be over there the Sunday night of the Oscars. Now, of course, I didn't go to the Oscars. So the very next day, of course, the buzz was still throughout the entire city. And I'm a huge Blues Brothers fan. I love the Blues and a lot of them. And it's funny, again, this is one of these God moments, because I had just literally not even like 2 days before had read an amazing story about Dave and a random act of kindness that he had done because some people had got ripped off and got scammed on some tickets of a show he was doing. So I went to the Chateau Hotel Marmont there in West Hollywood. And I went there because that's where Belushi actually OD'd. So I went there to have a couple of drinks. Just a Monday afternoon, like at 2 o'clock, I was sitting there chilling. I got up to go to the bathroom and turned around. And it was like one of those expletives you can't say in this forum. I was like, oh my God, there's Dave Chappelle. And I walked up and I dropped an MF on him and said it. He just started laughing and he was just so cool. He's like, man, what's up, dude? And I dropped on him that story I just read. And I didn't even have to ask him for his time because we sat there for, it wasn't long, but 5-6 minutes. And he told me all about that story and shared, what it meant for him. And I kind of shared, what I was doing and smiling with strangers. And I said, man, I would be blessed today, to take a, smile. I said, man, yeah, bring it on up in here, man. So obviously, yeah, I mean, it's one of those moments in life I'll never forget. And again, if it probably wasn't for the Blues Brothers, I would have never gone to that hotel and just thought about it that day to go there because of what the Blues Brothers meant to me in my childhood. And next thing I know, I'm running into Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, that was super. And it was funny how that picture was the very last one. So people are like, what junket are you talking about? You got to kind of go through Michael's content to find it. But
and it was cool because one of the first news stories last October that was done on me, it was so well done, and it was the last photo in that. I was, and of course, when he plucked, Stefan Dingle, a local reporter here, did it. I mean, when he put it together, and then I saw that, I was like, I didn't even send him, and he pulls Chappelle and drops, and I'm like, man, what a way to close out that story. So
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
But I like that you kind of make the content creation easy, because I think there's so many ways to approach your business on LinkedIn, and there's all these scripting your content, having a producer, having an editor, and all these things, and there's a place for that. But you've gotten organic buzz just from you and your daughter. I mean, Maddie's such a wonderful story because obviously she's not verbal, but you can see her reacting to you.
Yeah.
You can see her communicating, and that's nothing that's produced. You can't get a sound stage and a crew to say, hey, make her smile, make her. You can't do that. You can't plan it. It just happens.
I think, Daryl, I made the decision when I went to video that what I was going to embrace was just, I was going to be raw, original, authentic, and transparent. And really the only thing that I try to stay within is I try to stay less than 2 minutes if you can. It's not always an option when you're dealing with human beings and you're doing a random act of kindness. Sometimes it just flows and it goes longer. And I guess the 2-minute piece is just because when people are going to engage, a lot of times, I don't know if they want to sit there and watch 4 or 5 minutes. But yet, it works in, I don't edit. I don't have subtitles. And you look, again, you said it a minute ago, it works for others and that's fine. I just know what works for me. And it's just being real, being in the moment. And that's where the human emotion, when you're making people smile, whether it's a picture or, you're doing video, and it's amazing sometimes just going back to the pictures, because I wouldn't spend a lot of time with people, 5, maybe 10 minutes with people. And I always wanted to find out something amazing about them to share with the world. But man, I got messages sometimes from people, whether it was the same day, the next day, a week later, or even weeks later, that were like, God, I was going through this shitstorm, or I lost somebody in my family. I mean, they were giving me their backstory. And then it was like, then there's just some random dude that wants to hug it out, and smile with me. And again, that's that faith-based element. I always felt like I was never really going to look for the picture. I just found myself in the moment. So some days some weeks I went a full week without taking a picture. And sometimes I took one for 3-4 straight days. It's just, I felt like my heart was touched in some place, in some moment, to really capture it with a stranger and then kind of share a little bit of love about them, with the world. But again, it's no different, also too, in video, when somebody asks me to go bring smiles to a 28-year-old who's battling stage 4 colon cancer, and we're trying to bring love and in a little bit of happiness, and it's also appealing to the people in my audience to pray for those people. If you have faith, take a moment. I often tell people, man, it's only 15 seconds. You don't have to take long. As soon as you watch that, to say a quick prayer, for those people on their journey. Again, we smile because life is hard, baby.
Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing. I think when you mentioned the captions and all those different things, those are kind of hacks, I guess you want to call it, or was the optimized content. But the best content seems to be just genuine and just from the person. So whether it's a picture or a video, whatever it is, people could see instantly this is a real thing, and people will probably watch it for 4 minutes. I don't think you should limit yourself in that. Dwell time is the thing now, so people want to have longer content now, but it's just a real thing. And I think in this world of editing and facades and filters, your stuff is just, like you said, raw and authentic, and people could see that. And some quick comments too, actually, Michael had in there, that was the best random act, love that one. I think he's talking about the teacher we mentioned earlier. He put up some balloon stuff on the screen for us too. And Donovan said, Michael does awesome work, be the reason. Oh, and then also John, this is a new comment, John Daughtry. Smile and love for
John
Maine.
From Maine, man. Love you, brother.
I've not been to Maine yet. I got to go check it out up there.
I haven't either. But you know what? Again, this is the beauty I talk about in LinkedIn when you want to engage. in these people and these names, you know, when you see them over and over and over and how you're touching their lives, I honestly, I look forward to it. And a lot of people, you know, don't know because I haven't made it insanely public, you know, but this is what I do full time.
Right.
You know, in staying engaged in creating what I've created in my community. You know, this is the choice when I was done with corporate America. And really, it took me about 15 years because the first time I thought about it was probably somewhere around '05 or '06, and what my legacy would be because I didn't feel like I had one. So when I created this is what I want to do the rest of my life. So it's really just trying to figure out how we can make it, you know, sustainable and continue to engage with the people that, and I often say, you know, people can comment, and I get a lot of people that send me private messages, and it is the fuel that drives my passion. Because look, like a lot of other people in life, when you want to give up, you want to throw in the towel. And I've certainly had those moments too, when you're trying to figure out, you know, at some point how you can make money off of changing, you know, people's lives and inspiring them. But yet, you know, you get these messages from people, and it's like, hell no, man, I got to double and triple down, you know. And that's the feel, I think, again, it's those God moments, which God's speaking to me going, no, my man, you're in the right place. Just keep doing what you're doing to inspire other people to create the change, you know, they need in their life.
Yeah, I think that's hard with. I mean, I'm pessimistic sometimes with nonprofits because you'll go to Target or Walmart or something, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to give $1 to the children's hospital?" And I'm like, "You're not going to really give that to the children's hospital. I don't believe you." And you know what I mean? Because it's like there's so many people kind of ripping off people that you actually show the work. Like you're actually, hey, I'm at this
mean,
school.
look, I mean, yeah,
here it is.
It's through the generosity of people who want to pay it forward, and you know, in every case, we're freely giving it away, and you know, it's you said something earlier, you know, talking about letting the camera flow, and that's something we're thinking more about because we've had a lot of very emotional moments once the camera has stopped. It really is moving for us, and really one of the hard things to do right now is, let me tell you what, man, when you have a human being, when the camera stops and they have gone through what they've just gone through, and a total stranger has given them something of value, it's hard not to hug people. Yeah. And I'm a very touchy-feely human being. And, you know, pre-COVID, when I would do it, you know, I wanted my hand around. I wanted to be up on them, you know, in the moment. Because then when it happens, whether they're crying or not, and they're feeling the love, it's about the embrace. That total strangers care enough about you to want to see you smile and touch your heart. So I hate to admit it, but look, man, I mean, I've said the hell with it in off camera. After the fact, I've hugged people if they've wanted to freely do it. I know COVID exists, and I know it's probably against better judgment, but it's hard not in that moment, man, when you got a human being breaking down, you know, to not hug them. I just trust God that I've been safe, and I have, you know, but when you're in that moment, man, you know, hell no, I can't say no. It's like, bring it in, baby. You know, come get it.
Yeah, I can understand that because I was wondering for your world, that's got to be hard with going with COVID because, I mean, and then you said if they want to. That's the thing you said about they want to. It's really their choice because obviously we're in a bad situation with COVID.
And that's exactly right. And when you're in that moment, you're feeling it out. You know, you're talking about it quickly. Hey, you know, if you want a hug, man, it's here. Come get it. You know, and I've done some crazy ass shit too, where I early on, this is probably late March, early April, I went out and bought a 10-foot pole to try to be humorous and giving balloons to people, but make sure I was responsibly 10 foot away. And I went with another guy, and I went and bought plastic see-through, you know, tarp, So that way I knew this guy was a hugger, and I threw plastic over me. He turned 77. He's a priest, and I knew he was a hugger, man. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get this plastic. And I said, look, I'll put plastic on to get a hug. And he's like, bring it in. So I draped this plastic over me and went and hugged it out too, So, but again, it is hard. It's hard in those moments, when the camera's not rolling, because people do find a way that, they're having to process what just went down. And I think that's the beauty of the human spirit, in which, again, I said earlier, when you lead with love, man, you can't know hate. I mean, you can't find hate. And that's why it makes it insanely easy to smile with strangers, to hug it out with anybody and everybody, and do random acts of kindness. And again, we give gift cards, but hell, man, kindness is free.
Right.
It's just the simplicity of those acts. And that's what I try to teach and really kind of, impress upon people's hearts. 99% of kindness, it's free, man. It's just the things that you can incorporate in your life. And, when you're smiling in kindness, as I said earlier, look, for me, it was intentional until it became natural. As in anything, when you want to create amazing change in your life, look, you got to do the work. You got to do the thing.
Yeah.
But you get to a point, hell, I don't know how not to smile. When I'm moving throughout the community, because that's just all I know and feel,
Yeah, positivity's got to be intentional, because I know a lot of people, like, when they see people that are overly positive or always positive, like, how are you just always so happy? And it takes work. It's not your natural state. Your natural state is negative.
Of course it does.
Yeah, give us some reactions, people. If you give us some love reactions, the heart reaction and the support reaction, if you have that. I know everybody doesn't have the support reaction, but support or heart, give us some reactions. But I love that you're doing that. And you was in a very dark place to be intentional about that. You decided, I don't want to be dark and down. I want to be happy, because you honestly have every reason to be down. I mean, it's hard. Life is hard, and you have a hard deal, but you choose to be happy.
My man, you're nailing it on the head. And I'll tell you that when I look back, when I started this journey, I look back and say and know now that I needed the social interaction in the smiling with an absolute stranger, maybe more than even the person that I was bringing it to. And it probably wasn't as evident until I had been doing it for several months. And then again, you find yourself climbing out of, that dark mindset. You're so much more insanely positive in your life, and it's like, all right, God, I'm understanding the path that you laid out before me. And, I needed to smile with Will and with Keith and with Susan and, all of the names of people. I don't take anywhere near as many pictures. And I think a lot of that now is more COVID, because again, when I was taking the picture, it's all about hugging, but I needed that. And I often believe God put that person again on my heart to be there in that moment, to smile with them.
That's great. Yeah, it's just good to see a nonprofit doing the work. I mean, I can't appreciate you anymore for that, because that's something I always hate, that I don't see it happening.
There was moments, one of the greatest stories, and it didn't involve balloons, but again, this is just the beauty. And when I did it, it actually took me a couple of months, and I did a video about it, because I knew in the moment, and this was probably like late December of last year, I walked out of a Kroger's. And I don't know if you got Kroger's on the ATL.
Yeah, we got Kroger, yep.
Just a large-ass grocery chain in this part of the world. And I walked out of Kroger's, but I had bags in my hand. And again, these are those moments that I have, and I'm like, all right, what do you want me to do, God? Because I saw these two black ladies walking out, and I was like, all right, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, all right, is it a picture? And I decided to walk up to them, and I grabbed the bags, but I couldn't get to my phone. But I knew in that moment what God wanted me to do. And I put my arm, a total stranger, put my arm around the one next to me, and I looked at her and I smiled and I said, hey, when's the last time a white man put his arm around you? And she looked up to me and started laughing and said, actually, never, and it's about damn time. And then she looked right back at me and said, and thank God he smells good.
Oh my God.
And we had this moment. It maybe lasted 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And her and her friends laughed. And I gave her friend a high five. I hugged the other one, and we walked off.
But see, that's important. That's going to last forever.
But you know what? Again, it's what I go back to and say, you know what, Maya Angelou, it's the way you make people feel.
Right.
That they don't forget. And she probably then went home and told somebody, and they laughed about it, man. And this crazy ass white dude that's walking out the corner.
But that's good, because the opposite of that is this white guy profile me.
Is hate.
Yeah, pulled his purse away, walked to the side of the street, tried to get away from me. So I mean, I applaud you for doing that.
I'm I look at some of the things that I think that I have nurtured in my life, that I've been blessed by God with, and that is the ability to be charming, to be welcoming. Not everybody, probably feels like they have the personality to where they can walk up to an absolutely complete stranger and put their arm around them. But I guess when you trust in the process and you trust in God, is that I wasn't asking her to make out. I just wanted to express some love. But again, it's just the simplicity of the act. And I tell you, a lot of times, it's giving people knucks. It's giving people high five. It's just smiling and actually speaking, to strangers. It's not meaning we're having 20-minute conversations, but when you walk into the coffee house, you can make a choice whether you want to talk with the barista and ask them how their morning is going. And I can't tell you how many times where they go, "Oh, it's been awful." And then I reach across the counter, I give them a high five, and it's like, "Well, you know what? You're going to crush this afternoon. You're amazing." And try to just impress upon them in just this short moment, that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Happiness is a choice. It's always a choice. And Joshua added to that, it's easy to be upset, easy to fall to the anger. Michael had some more emojis for us, showing us some love.
Skiva's in it for long term, baby. I love it.
And then John Daughtry said, always, always lead with love. When the time is right, I'm traveling to hug Michael and support his work. You go.
I need to give a shout out to Skiba real quick, because one of the things that I started doing recently, Daryl, is I started taking some of the work that I'm doing outside of my community. We went in the last couple of weeks to Cincinnati. We did multiple random acts of kindness to make people smile up there. We went last week down to Nashville, Tennessee, and we are actively right now planning to go to Philly and New York City the end of July. And Brother Skiba there is on the forefront of that, and kind of planning and kind of putting some things together behind the scenes to do some work where it's greatly needed throughout our nation right now.
Yeah.
So I got to give a shout out to him. So.
Well, thank you for that, Michael Skiba, because that's important. All this, when people say, what can I do to affect all the protests and things going on, it's the little things you're saying, like just hugging somebody or just high five or just tell them something. If you're not comfortable touching, you can just say something. It doesn't cost anything, like you said, to just be nice to somebody and really genuinely say, hey, how are you? Or just tell them something nice. So, Michael, this is a great ray of sunshine. I'm in the gloomy weather here in Georgia that I'm looking forward to today. I had a feeling that would happen. Like, as soon as I got something bright coming on, the weather's going to be crap.
Oh, it's all good, man. The sun's going to shine. Hey, the sun's got to shine again, right?
Yeah, there you go. And then Donovan has a good ending point for us. Michael's content or ministry, absolutely. Scroll Stoppers on LinkedIn. Shout out to Sherry Jones with the Scroll Stopper hashtag. So for people that want to learn more about what you're doing, I know all you do isn't just make people smile. So let's talk about the organization and where they should go to help out.
So, again, smileprojectlouisville.com is the website. We're trying to think and currently, do things outside of our community locally. So if you want to nominate even somebody nationally, go on there. It's user friendly. Your 10-year-old could, walk on there and click on menu. If you feel your heart wants to be, is touched enough to want to pay it forward, you can do that too. Follow us. Everything on my website is great because everything that I do, all of that content, even if you're not on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, you can go straight to the website, and all of the news stories that have been shared on our journey, all of the content and smiles and kindness that I do, everything is uploaded real time, and people can follow it even if you're not in social media. You can see it. So
this is on YouTube too, people. So if you're going to pull it up later, it's on YouTube, and I know you got content there as well. And
I'm trying to figure it all out, and part of it too, was putting a board in place of like-minded people, and as I made a decision, and really where it kind of started, my man, was about a month ago. I was like, I feel like with what's going on in this country, I wanted to get in the car and literally take a month and just kind of drive from city to city and deliver smiles in areas in which people really feel like they need to feel the love. And we kind of took a step back from that. And then again, the beauty of LinkedIn, I've built so many amazing relationships like Brother Skiba that started saying, hey, hell no, come up in here and I'll take on some of that responsibility. Or Dave English, in Philly, or Susan Tucker, who was in Cincinnati, or Ashish that was down in Nashville, and I can go on with countless names all around the country where people who have watched me, the last 4, 6, 8, 10 months in doing what we're doing, and kind of carry some of that burden in going into their communities to spread the love.
That's awesome. I mean, this is definitely the kind of stuff we need to see in lieu of what's happening in the country right now. So everybody's still physically distanced and all that good stuff. And Michael had a comment to say, thanks, guys. Michael's a ray of sunshine. Physically distanced, but don't socially distance. I kind of wish that phrasing wasn't used, but you don't have to be socially distant. You can still send love to people remotely. You can email them. You can send them a video, just something, because Lord knows there's enough bad stuff going on that it's easy to go to the negative side. But that was the point of having Michael on today, to put some sunshine in your life. And don't forget to go to the webpage again, Smile Project Louisville. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Tell Maddie I said hi.
I will. Thank you.
And everybody be safe out there. We will catch you next time on Business with Benefits. And if you know somebody that needs to smile, tag them on this, send them to the replay. This will be on the internet forever. So if you need to smile 10 years from now, it'll be on here. But thanks for following us and watching this. And we'll